Today on Studio One, the Iditarod sled dog race is a challenge few people tackle. We'll talk to a racer who teaches kids to reach for their goals. Also, aviation is almost 100 years old. To celebrate, an organization is giving kids the chance to fly. And expiration dates are a common sight on food. We'll tell you why some say they should also be put on tires.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hello everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Kasale.
And I'm Jill Gustafson. Well, later on the show, I actually have the pleasure of interviewing a woman from Africa.
That's right. She's a publisher of a newspaper, correct?
Right. She's from Botswana, Africa, and she works for The Voice, which is a small independent newspaper in the area.
Good. We'll get to find out what the differences between the U.S. and Africa are with newspapers.
Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting.
Good. Also coming up on Studio One, tire quality can play an important role in the safety of your car. We'll tell you why some in the tire industry are debating about expiration dates.
Also, predators lurk in internet online chat rooms for their next victim. Coming up, we'll talk with a woman who teaches children online safety techniques.
Before we get to all that, here's today's news with Sarah Spencer.
Thanks, Monty and Jill. The U.S. celebrated a significant victory at the United Nations today. A U.S. resolution on Iraq was unanimously approved by the UN Security Council. The resolution calls for a greater UN role in post-Saddam Iraq. The plan includes a specific blueprint on how to give control back to the Iraqis. Secretary of State Colin Powell says that the vote today shows that all sides are working towards common goals.
To bring the international community together to agree on a plan to move forward to restore full sovereignty of Iraq back to the Iraqi people.
While the UN plans to help aid in rebuilding Iraq, there are signs that changes have already begun. New currency has started to circulate. Pictures of Saddam Hussein have been replaced with images of the country's historical sites and landscapes. The money was flown in from England on 10 747s. With the millions of dollars being delivered, security was tight. U.S. Commerce Secretary Don Evans says the new currency is a vital part of Iraq's reconstruction. With fall weather setting in, the mosquitoes may be gone in much of the U.S., but the West Nile virus continues to be a concern. New research has found that the disease can be transmitted through blood transfusions. Although this is rare, new testing methods are now being used when a person donates blood. Of the more than 2.5 million units of blood that have been screened for West Nile virus, less than 0.5% have actually tested positive. New tests were put into effect this summer and look for DNA strands of West Nile virus in the blood samples.
They're doing what's called pooled testing, where they will pool 16 donors' blood together and test it as one pool. And then if that pool is reactive, they can test it in smaller pools until they can identify the actual donor that is causing the positivity.
If a person finds out they have West Nile virus after they've donated blood, the blood products from that donor are destroyed. The donor and anyone who may have received a transfusion with that person's blood are then notified. A recent study shows that contrary to popular belief, the homework load for the American student is light. According to the independent research group, the Brookings Institution, most students have less than an hour of homework a night. A separate study also shows that only 10% of high school students are studying more than 2 hours a night. These numbers are only half the amount of homework required in some European countries. Educators recommend that students have a 10-minute increase in work for every year they are in school. Previous studies found that American students felt they had too much homework. Nowadays, just about everything from groceries to prescriptions have expiration dates on them, but you may be surprised to know that some tire experts would also like to see an expiration date on the wheels of your car.
The safety of a vehicle is often a vital concern to many who own and drive a car, and the tires on a car are an important part of the vehicle. But for Travis, tires haven't given him the best of luck.
About 4 years ago, I bought a set for a car that started to tear apart only about 5,000 miles in. And it did it on the highway and it started shaking. So I had to bring them back.
It's cases like Travis's that pushed tire makers in Britain to issue a warning to drivers. They say tires that are more than 10 years old should be replaced even if the tread is not worn. And some safety advocates say tires should have expiration dates. Travis is now more aware and tries to ensure that the tires he purchases are brand new.
Usually when I buy tires, I get a tire that's either very popular that they roll through, or I order them so that I know they're fresh. They're not sitting in the storeroom for too long.
It is very difficult to tell that there is anything wrong with a tire just by looking at it. What many don't know is that tires can spend years in a warehouse before they arrive at stores and are available to consumers.
That makes sense because everything, it seems like these days, have expiration on, even the spring water you buy.
Tire experts say that the oils, chemicals, and rubber in a tire start to come apart over time. These chemicals are made to protect the tire and only work if the tire is being used. That's why when it sits on a shelf for a long period of time, it speeds up the deteriorating process and quickly ages the tire. But the U.S. tire industry says an expiration date is not necessary. They argue that there are many factors that make a tire deteriorate. The general manager of this tire store feels as though it would be useless to place an expiration on tires.
I don't know if people would look at even the expiration date if there was one on the tire.
One way you can check the age of your tires by looking at the printed digits on the tire, but some feel that an expiration date would be a safer alternative. With photographer Froda Tilden Norby, I'm Kristen Gillick reporting for Studio One News.
Experts are also concerned about spare tires because they sit so long before they are actually used. Tire makers say to replace your spare every 6 years. And that's news for now. Monty and Jill.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, seeing all those cars and trucks in the shop reminds me that it's almost time to start winterizing our vehicles again.
That's true, but it's kind of hard to figure out when because the temperatures have been going up and down and up and down. So let's check in with BJ Eisen at the Regional Weather Information Center, and he can tell us if the weather patterns around the country have been the same.
Well, Monty and Jill, you're exactly right. Much of the country's been seeing temperatures up and down and back and forth, and we really just can't decide what's going to go on. But before we get into anything, let's take a look at our almanac information for our viewing areas. The state of North Dakota is seeing averages this week of 57 for the high, 31 for the low, and we have on there for you October precip normals, which means the state of North Dakota should see about 9/10 of an inch for the month of October. As for Portland, they should see a little over an inch, and their temperatures are right around 62 and 45. As we take a look at our departure from normal temperatures, it really is a scattered hit and miss between seasonable and unseasonable temperatures. A little bit below average from cities like Detroit to Chicago down to Memphis. Otherwise, a little bit above average down into the southwest. Otherwise, for the northwest, the Pacific states, we should be seeing temperatures a little bit below average, but hopefully that will be changing pretty soon. What's causing that is the zonal flow of the polar jet stream, which is from west to east. That's what a zonal flow is, and that is keeping below average temperatures to the north of it, and above average, some places seeing above average temperatures down to the south of it. But as the week progresses, we will be seeing a ridge developing in the polar jet stream, allowing those average temperatures to scoot back into our nation. As we take a look at the national weather for this week, though, we do see high pressure system dominating much of the midwestern sections of the U.S., and that's a very cold air mass, keeping those temperatures below average. And actually, this cold front here, these arrows are pointing in the direction that it is moving, so it is starting to sag further south, associated with some rain showers. And then over here we have a clash between warm air and cold air, which is why we have a stationary front. As we move this through, though, we do see high pressure system dominating much of the central plains sections of the state, or the nation, causing partly cloudy skies, but we are starting to see some low pressure systems developing up into Canada, and that will be bringing a few more cold fronts, pulling that cold air down from Canada. But we do see a high pressure system behind that cold front, which is fairly normal to see behind a cold front, and that should be bringing clearer skies, but a little bit cooler temps for the upcoming week. Here's your Studio One Weather IQ question for today. What U.S. city holds the record for the warmest recorded temperature? You have a few choices ranging from Phoenix to Honolulu, Hawaii, and Monty and Jill will have the answer to that question. And we'll be looking to see who's going to get some rain in the next week. We'll be talking about some weather instruments, all coming up in the second half of the show.
Thanks, BJ.
I did not see Grand Forks, North Dakota on
That is a shocker
list.
to me.
Yeah.
It can get a little hot up here.
Probably not as hot as what BJ is looking for the answer.
Well, you know.
All right, let's go now to sports with Greg Ankers.
Thanks, Monty and Jill. It was a baseball night that will remain in fans' memories for some time. Both games on Wednesday were matchups that could possibly set up the World Series. The Cubs and Marlins are jammed with a Game 7, while the Yankees have a chance to put away the Red Sox in Game 6. Take it to that action now. Pick it up in the bottom of the fourth. 4-3 Boston when Alfonso Soriano rips one to left center. 2 runs will score, giving the Yankees a 5-4 lead. Top 7, 6-4 Yankees now when Nomar Garcia-Pera takes this pitch deep to center field. Bernie Williams on his giddy-up. He can't get there. The throw to the infield would go into the stands, so Nomar would come all the way around to score, cutting the lead to 1. Top of the ninth, 7-6 Boston after a run was walked in, and Trot Nixon finishes this one up, sending it to a Game 7 with this upper deck shot. Boston goes on to win 9-6, tying the series up at 3 games apiece. Marlins and Cubs now pick up action in the bottom of the third in a 3-3 game when Moises Alou sends this shot to, well, where is it? All the way out to Waveland Avenue, out of the stadium, giving the Cubs a 5-3 advantage. Top 5 tied at 5. Derek Lee slaps one to right center field. Ivan Rodriguez, come on down. You're the next player to score in this game. That would make it 6-5 Marlins. Bottom of the ninth, last gasp for the Cubs. But Paul Bacco flies out to left field. The Marlins would hold on to win it 9-6 and go back to the World Series for the first time since 1997. The loss of Game 7 was a major disappointment for the nearly 40,000 fans at Wrigley Field. One Cubs fan who wasn't in attendance was Steve Bartman, who was at home under the guard of local police. Bartman was escorted out of Game 6 after he interfered in the 8th inning with Moises Alou as he tried to catch a foul ball. Many people believe that play helped force a Game 7. Many Cubs fans feel that Bartman's mistake is the latest in a string of mishaps the Cubs have suffered since they last won the World Series 95 years ago.
Cubs had it all going for them. Pitching, they had it all going, just didn't turn out right.
The string of bad luck is believed to have started in 1945 when a local tavern owner cast a curse upon the Cubs when his goat was not allowed to attend the game. It's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question. What boxer held 5 different world titles during his career? We have a fine list of boxers there to choose from. We'll have that answer and more sports later on in the show. Monty and Jill?
Thanks a lot, Greg. Journalists can sometimes put their lives on the line for stories. Later we'll see a new film based on a true story of one woman who risked her life for the truth.
And many children are unaware of the dangers found on the internet. Coming up, we'll talk with the woman who teaches young people how to recognize suspicious online behavior.
Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration offers real degrees for real people. Our nationally recognized faculty can help you earn a master's degree in business through evening classes.
Taking these evening classes were very convenient for me, and that's how I was able to complete the program.
We offer degrees for people who work, raise families, and lead busy lives. The UND College of Business and Public Administration, real degrees for real people.
Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business with skills to enhance your workforce retention and productivity efforts. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in conducting employee satisfaction research, workforce needs assessments, and the development of customized training materials. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, your source for news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
Children are growing up in the age of technology. As a result, the U.S. government funded a program called iSafe that promotes online safety. The project is being used in schools across America. iSafe instructor Carla Haaven is here to tell us about it. Thank you for coming on the show today, Carla.
Nice to be here.
Well, how possible is it to become a victim of an internet crime?
I think it's very possible for our children to become victims on the internet. There are predators out there looking for, I don't know, I suppose victims who are, don't know that they will become victims, but they're out there looking for them.
Okay. What is the main focus of iSafe, the program that you work with?
I think the main focus is for us to provide knowledge, empower the students to have knowledge to be responsible, to act responsibly and safely on the internet. I think we just want to give them the knowledge because we know they're out there on the internet.
Okay.
So we need to.
Now you talk about safety. What are some of the dangers that are out there?
Some of the dangers are, there are what we call predators, and I talk about that with my students, are out there looking for young girls, usually, to possibly meet up with them at one point, and they're out there looking.
Okay. How often do children put themselves in high risk, I guess it'd be like areas on the internet, when they're out surfing and looking for different things? What are some of the places that they put themselves at a higher risk?
Probably in chat rooms would be the area that they're kind of exposing themselves more to.
Okay. Could you explain what a chat room is?
A chat room, there are many rooms that a student can go to. Some you have chess chat rooms or basketball or just a generic one. Depends on what they are. But the children don't know who's in that chat room. It could be, they say they're a 16-year-old boy, but it could be a 33-year-old man. And that person can pretend to be whoever that person wants to be. And that's where the child becomes into a safety risk right there.
Okay. Now what kind of techniques do predators use to target people?
They use something called grooming. And so I always say to the kids, no, not grooming the dog, they're grooming you. And I always try to visualize with my students that I visit with is think of this person on the other end, and they're not going to ask you point blank what your name is and where you're from and what school you're at. They're going to try to get that information a little at a time. And I say, okay, visualize this person sitting at their computer with a tablet. And today they're visiting with you. And you might say, oh, I went to the University of North Dakota basketball game. Well, right there, you've kind of narrowed down where you're at. So that's, I have the kids visualize that in their mind.
Okay. Now, what skills, help the kids so that they know what to look for in particular? What do you teach with iSafe?
One of the things is never give your name, never identify yourself. Your name, your parents' name, your school, even your phone number, because obviously they can call you or you call them. That's just identifying ways to do that. So we say don't do that. Just if you want to visit with somebody online, then make up a name. I don't recommend that, but if they're going to do that, that's what I say to do.
So try and stay anonymous as possible.
Yes.
Is law enforcement involved in this program as well?
They are in lesson 5. There's 4 lessons that I teach. In lesson 5, they're involved with that. I'm not very familiar with that, but they are involved with the program. They also, that I visit with the kids, how I would involve law enforcement would be the idea that if you're in a situation and someone has approached you or online, maybe you need to talk to a neighborhood police officer or myself. I also say, the school counselor. I always say there's many avenues, the classroom teacher.
Okay. It's not just safety that is in this iSafe program, but also you deal a little bit with ethics. Could you explain about that part?
We have a couple lessons that I teach. One is on viruses, and we explain to the kids, the different viruses and how that can hurt not just you, because a virus can come on your machine and you can lose your paper that's due for your teacher the next day. It can involve your parents in losing their stuff. But it can also involve companies. And what if your parents are in a small business? Can they lose money from the virus, hurting the computers? And then I also talk a lot about plagiarism and intellectual property with the students.
Right.
And that's real important that whatever we use on the internet, it's somebody else's material.
Sure, and you hear about that quite a bit in the school type system where kids are looking for facts to put in papers and
right.
things.
And as a student, they have a lot of privileges to use things. They can use pictures off the internet as long as we teach them how to cite that information. And I talk with them, you can't just copy and paste a paragraph as much as we would like to and hand it in to our teachers. You know, we teach them skills on how to take that information and rewrite it in their own words. And that's some of the intellectual property. We also talk about music, which is a big thing. We read about it a lot in the newspaper. And a lot of the kids are burning music and downloading music, so we talk about that whole ethics with that.
Okay. How can more schools get involved with this type of program?
I would say to go to the website, that they can check out the website. I know there's a link on there to contact somebody for more information.
What is that website?
Oh, goodness. I think it's www.isafe.org.
Okay. If it's not, we'll find out and we'll put it up
yes,
at the end of the
you just caught me on that one, didn't
okay.
you?
Well, thanks a lot for coming on the show and telling us about this very important thing that you're working with.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carla. Well, coming up, an injury to a college athlete can create interest from fans and media. We'll tell you why it's becoming harder to find out the health status of players. Also, the winter season is just around the corner. While some wish summer would last longer, others can't wait to see the white stuff fall. Coming up, we'll see how one special job requires snow.
University of North Dakota. Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business with skills to enhance your workforce retention and productivity efforts. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in conducting employee satisfaction research, workforce needs assessments, and the development of customized training materials. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
The upcoming movie called Veronica Garin is based on a true story. It centers around a courageous journalist who covered drug crimes in the mid-1990s. It is a story about a Dublin woman who became a national folk heroine to the people of Ireland. She was an inspiration for people who wanted to become journalists. Touched by the many people killed by drugs, she investigated and exposed the pushers responsible for the deaths. The film stars Academy Award nominee Cate Blanchett. The director and Blanchett were able to piece together a portrait of Garin as a tough and uncompromising journalist.
She got stories out of criminals that I don't think they even knew they were giving her, and that led her into a very dangerous place.
Shooting the film on location with Irish cast and crew was key to telling Veronica Garin's story. 92 different shooting locations were used. The filmmakers wanted to show the dark side of Dublin. The locations varied from seedy brothels and rundown neighborhoods to upper-class districts. Veronica Garin opens nationwide on October 17th. Now it's time to look at the events happening in your area. Many people set forth on a trail of self-discovery sometime in their life. Whether you're searching for a life-changing opportunity or a new career, life always will have its bends and curves. One man literally rides along these twists and turns with the help from his team of dogs.
An ocean of white, hearing nothing more than paws on the snow and the constant sound of rails running across frozen water, is the experience of a dog musher. Vern Halter began his trail in 1977 when he left South Dakota to pursue a new career opportunity in Alaska. Vern was hoping to find a career as an attorney, but what he discovered was a path few had traveled before him.
It's just something that fits in well with my likings and way of life, and so we just kind of continued on.
He began his mushing career the same year he moved to Alaska. By 1983, Vern decided to race in the Iditarod Challenge. Since the very beginning, he has set goals to help him achieve his dreams.
Honestly, I could probably make more money as an attorney, but this has been far more fulfilling and just the way I think living in Alaska should be.
Vern and his wife Susan have teamed up with Wells Fargo to inspire youth to follow their dreams. Vern has been able to tour around the country visiting more than 30,000 students annually. He hopes to motivate youth to chase after their dreams. Vern hopes to race in 4 more Iditarod challenges to make it an even 20. Even though the trail is sometimes rough, Vern keeps going back each year.
It's a very physical sport. You really have to understand that you're out in the wilderness with a dog team, and this trail is not groomed like a lot of snowmobile trails or a snow machine trail.
Vern also has a goal of taking his team of sled dogs across the upper Midwest and stopping at schools along the way, sharing his story. Vern has his trail mapped, but now he hopes to help others map a trail of success. I'm Aaron Swanson, reporting for Studio One.
The first written account of sled dog racing was in the 1850s. Travelers competed informally on the route from Winnipeg, Canada to St. Paul, Minnesota. Newspapers are diverse, from the tabloids to the Times. This is not only true in the U.S., but in Africa as well. Coming up, we'll meet a newspaper publisher from Botswana, Africa. Some people are afraid of flying. Coming up, we'll see how one program helps kids understand aviation. That story plus news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
Dakota has been home to many successful entrepreneurs. George Bull and his partners found value in farina, the whitest part of wheat, and created cream of wheat. Patrick Haggerty is the founder of one of the nation's high-tech giants, Texas Instruments. And Raymond Rood's product has been used in every Olympic competition since 1960. He is responsible for the modern diving board. Ryan Foltz is the first graduate of the UND Entrepreneurship Program. Are you next?
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association and Foundation, together with thousands of alumni and friends, are making a difference at UND. Thanks to generous private support, many students have experienced the rich history, tradition, and spirit of the University of North Dakota. UND alumni and friends understand the importance of education and are proud to be part of UND's growth and success. Learn how your gift to the UND Foundation can benefit you and your university. You can make a difference.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering Degree Program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today. Well, later on in the show, we're going to be talking to people on the street about what they think about downloading internet music.
Yeah, it's controversial subject.
It is a controversial subject. There was a research study done by Forrester Research, and they predict that this is going to continue because CD sales have plummeted. It's going to continue to go down.
Right.
And they say, analysts from that company are saying, it's just like the 8-track, it's just like record players, all those sorts of things. It'll be replaced.
Right. I mean, I wonder where CDs are going to go.
Right. It's just going to go away, they say.
I personally like records. I'm
like
a jukebox myself, so.
Really?
I do. It's a really big. My grandpa's an arts collector, an antique arts collector, and
full of
lucky enough to get
Elvis
one.
LPs, I bet.
Right.
There you go.
Well, you know me.
Well, coming up in the next 30 minutes on Studio One as well, air traffic controllers play a vital role in keeping the skies safe. We'll tell you why some are concerned about efforts to privatize the industry.
Also, aviation is celebrating its 100th year of flight. We'll show you how one group is spreading their passion for the skies to young people.
And cultures are different wherever you go. Newspapers often reflect cultural differences. Later we'll meet a woman from Botswana, Africa, who will tell us about some of the differences there. Before we get to all that, here's today's news with Sarah Spencer.
Thanks, Monty and Jill. The Staten Island ferry resumed service Thursday after Wednesday's deadly accident. The ferry slammed into a pier, killing 10 people and injuring 42 others. Divers are still looking for people who are reported missing. National Transportation Safety Board members are trying to determine the cause of the accident. The pilot of the ferry is under investigation for possibly falling asleep at the time of the crash. Authorities began to question witnesses and passengers on Thursday. Many say that the ferry did not seem to slow down as it approached the dock. The pilot fled the scene as soon as the ferry docked and later attempted suicide in his own home. He is currently in critical condition at a hospital where many other victims of the accident are being treated. Thursday was a day of celebration for the Vatican. Thousands gathered in St. Peter's Square to celebrate Pope John Paul II's 25th year as leader of the Catholic Church. The 83-year-old Pope appeared frail, but actively participated in the 2-hour Mass and spoke to followers with passion. John Paul is the third longest-serving Pope in the Church's 2,000-year history. During his speech, the Pope seemed to dispel any rumors that he may resign due to his health. A helpful way to pay for a college education is to save early. One way parents have been able to do this is through prepaid tuition plans. These payment plans allow parents to lock in today's rates and pay out future tuition at participating schools. But many states have been unable to keep up with the rising cost of education, leading to large hikes in tuition. And the interest earned from the plans is not keeping pace with those increases. As a result, many states are suspending or eliminating the prepaid tuition plans. That means many families will not have this payment option.
Where this has a distinct advantage is that you don't pay income tax on those investments or those earnings on those investments as you would with any other investment. So if you believe in saving for your children or grandchildren's education, that's the basic premise.
Some states have increased the amount parents have to put into the accounts, while others have stopped taking new participants. There may soon be a new eye in the sky watching over you. The federal government has considered placing video cameras on commercial airplane flights to monitor pilots and passengers from the ground. Earlier this year, the Boeing company conducted 2 test flights of the monitoring equipment. The cameras could give people on the ground early warning of trouble on board. Many passengers support cameras as a way to prevent hijackings and terrorist attacks. But some pilots strongly oppose the measure. They say cameras may allow others to second-guess the decisions they make during a flight. Air traffic control towers provide safety and efficiency for airports all over the United States. However, the industry may face some major changes if all air traffic control towers become privatized. The Federal Aviation Administration has been responsible for the operation of the vast majority of control towers for years. However, the Bush administration is currently pushing to privatize the entire air traffic control industry. This would allow for towers to be privately run in hopes of saving money. The Air Traffic Controllers Union is questioning whether the change would be necessary.
Every other place in the world where air traffic control has been privatized, across Canada, Great Britain, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, accident rates have gone up, error rates have gone up.
Professionals in the industry are also concerned with the safety of those traveling by air. Supporters of the privatization say the few towers that are privately run have excellent safety track records. But controllers are worried that in an effort to save money, private towers would risk safety by sacrificing the number of employees. They say that if centers are no longer run by the FAA, there could be more potential for error.
You know, I've had way too many airplanes than I should have, and you ask for help. That help's not going to be there with a private company because they're worried about profit. They don't care about safety. It's the bottom dollar.
In addition to safety concerns, people who are looking to break into air traffic control as a career may run into trouble getting a job. Despite the advanced training that future controllers receive in simulators like this one, that may not be enough for them to get hired. Under privatization, the demand for new employees would not be there due to efforts to cut back and save money.
They don't want to invest into the money to have a payroll for all these people. If they can cut back on payroll, it's more money in their pocket.
At this point, no one knows for certain what the future holds for the air traffic control industry, but many expect that this debate will not be resolved for a long time. Many air traffic control professionals do not believe the public is as aware of this issue as they should be. They are trying to spread the facts regarding privatization in hopes of educating travelers all over the country. And that's news for now. Monty and Jill?
Thanks, Sarah. Well, we were being quizzed earlier in the show to see whether we knew the hottest place in the United States.
I have no clue, but let's go to BJ Eisen at the Regional Weather Information Center, the man who asked the question and knows the answer.
Well, Monty and Jill, that I do, but I'm not going to tell you quite yet. We'll get to that in just a few seconds. But first, let's take a look at who's going to get some precip throughout the next week. As we take a look at our national forecast here, we do see rain showers spreading across much of the central sections of the United States. For the rest of the nation, though, fairly sunny to mostly sunny skies, but we will be seeing a persistent rain band staying right over the Pacific Northwest. That rain band stays there. The rest of the rain starts to move off the East Coast, and we do see very sunny conditions for much of the U.S., even a little bit snow up behind me, but we do see that rain continuing throughout the Pacific Northwest. Otherwise, sunshine. A few scattered storms will be popping up over the Great Lakes, but like I said, partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies throughout the next week, so it looks fairly dry. The fall season is a time when temperatures can vary greatly. People look to a common household instrument to determine what kind of clothing they should wear.
The last remaining days of summer are upon us. Common fall weather includes warmer afternoons and chillier evenings. It's at this time many people rely on a handy little tool known as a thermometer. There are a few things you want to know before you put up a thermometer. An accurate reading should be your goal.
You want to avoid taking the temperature of the sun, or you want to have a shaded area, essentially. So you don't want to have it exposed directly to sunlight.
There are many different types of thermometers that can vary in quality and overall effectiveness. Some thermometers tell the truth better than others.
Most accurate, I would believe, would be the mercury thermometer, as far as being able to really get a reading to within a half a degree.
The easiest step you can take is to place your thermometer over a grassy surface on the north side of your home. This will guarantee you the most accurate reading from your thermometer. Reporting for Studio One, I'm Rob Parrish.
Another common thermometer used in homes is the aneroid thermometer. This thermometer uses a metal spring inside which coils and uncoils with the changing temperatures. Here's a recap of your Studio One Weather IQ question. What U.S. city holds the record for the warmest recorded temperature? And your answer is B, Death Valley, California. Monty and Jill?
Wow, Death Valley. Probably gets pretty hot there. How exactly hot did it get? What was the temperature?
The temperature was 134 degrees.
Ouch. Well, thanks, BJ.
No problem.
Wow.
134.
Can a human possibly survive in such weather?
I don't know. I know I couldn't. Let's go now to sports with Greg Ankers.
Thanks, Monty and Jill. When a player is injured during a game, fans often want to know the condition of the athlete. In the past, coaches and trainers have been able to release this information, but recently a law has put a stop to this practice.
From spraining an ankle to a concussion, there are many injuries that can happen to a player during a football game. And for many fans, the outcome of the game is sometimes not nearly as suspenseful as waiting for the status of the injured player. But a newly expanded law is now prohibiting this kind of information to be released.
We're just not allowed to indicate the nature of the injury as well as the extent of it and what their potential ability would be to come back and play.
The law is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, also known as HIPPA. HIPAA basically says it is illegal for a team's trainer or coach to discuss the nature of an athlete's injuries with anyone. HIPAA has made the world of sports in the NCAA more confusing, as athletic staffs are having to keep HIPAA in mind at all times.
The hard thing for the coach is where's that line to not divulge that information, and yet to talk about your team and about your the status of that individual.
With information about athletes being so accessible online, university staffs are having trouble keeping the injured athlete's status contained.
I understand the necessity of the law, but at the same time, there are some common sense factors that you would like to take into play, and it does make it a little frustrating that you can't tell why so-and-so is playing, but that's just the day and age that we live in right now.
Many universities across the nation are trying to create a waiver that would give the schools the right to release basic medical information. But until these waivers are signed, the media and the fans will still be limited on the information they can receive on athletes. This is Nadine Schrader reporting for Studio One Sports.
HIPAA was originally created for the protection of patients in healthcare facilities, but in the past 2 years has been enforced on athletics. Now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports trivia question: what boxer held 5 different world titles during his career? And the answer is B, Sugar Ray Leonard. And that's the sports. Monty and Jill.
Thank you, Greg. Technology allows people to do all sorts of activities. One of those is downloading music off the internet. Later we'll see how people feel about this controversial topic.
Also, flying can be a thrill for many people, especially for children. Coming up, we'll see how one group is giving kids the opportunity to see the skies.
The A. Kirk Lanterman Investment Center at the University of North Dakota brings Wall Street to the prairie. This state-of-the-art facility in the College of Business and Public Administration provides hands-on experience in the world of modern finance. Students learn how financial markets react with lightning quickness to world events. They use cutting-edge technology and real-time data from more than 200 financial markets around the world. The Lanterman Investment Center provides the tools to make a career out of an education.
There are many things to be found at the University of North Dakota School of Law. You will find a place with small class settings, an affordable place that offers student interaction with both the state and federal court systems. You will find a school that has averaged over 90% placement for its graduates the past 5 years. But most importantly, you will find the skills and experience you'll need throughout your legal career. Find your future at the University of North Dakota School of Law.
Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
Watching Studio One, news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
The Recording Industry Association of America announced this summer it would sue users of music file sharing systems. Just recently, a 12-year-old girl in New York City was taken to court. We wanted your thoughts on prosecuting American citizens for downloading internet music files.
The music industry, the RIAA, is using pirated software to battle against people who are pirating software and music files and thinking that they're going to get the same results off of that. I don't know if that's so much true.
Again, it's like
just like recording something off the radio. And it's definitely not right to be prosecuting little kids for it. That's just wrong.
I do not see anything wrong with them being prosecuted. I really don't understand how they're planning on implementing that when so many people do it, and it's going to cost a lot of money and take up a lot of court's time, but I do believe it's wrong.
On one hand, I don't think it makes a lot of sympathetic sense to sue a 12-year-old girl. On the other hand, record stores are closing all over the country.
The future of aviation is taking flight. One program is giving children the opportunity to see the world through a different perspective.
Many children are experiencing their first flights today. They are not going to Disney World, Paris, or some other exotic destination. Instead, they are taking a 20-minute flight around the small town of Crookston, Minnesota. Jeremiah Sundstrom admitted to being a little nervous.
Seeing if I get out of it alive.
This kind of makes us go like this.
Jeremiah and many other children like him are getting the opportunity to fly through a program called the Young Eagles Fly-In. In addition to free flights, the Fly-In also hosted a static aircraft display, remote control airplane flights, and paraglider demonstrations. A ground school was held to teach the children the basics of aviation.
Cool. Okay.
Then the children were given the opportunity to meet with actual pilots.
Love aviation, want to spread the passion of flying around and get more people excited about aviation. It's our goal.
The children had many stories to share about their experiences when they got back on the ground.
The cars are like matchboxes and like the houses are dolls. It was really cool.
The Young Eagles Fly-In is giving children an opportunity to see the world through a different set of eyes. The goal of the Fly-In is to educate the public and to keep the future of aviation alive.
Airplane.
Hosting a Fly-In takes a lot of dedication, but when it is all over, those involved say it is all worthwhile.
One day, I may go to Oshkosh, let's say, come back and see that one of the people that I took up, that I introduced to aviation, is now a pilot. And I don't think there could be anything more rewarding than that.
Who knows? Maybe Jeremiah Sundstrom will be one of those people. With photographer Froda Tilden, this has been Heidi Sire reporting for Studio One.
2003 marks the 100-year anniversary of flight. To celebrate, the National Young Eagles Fly-In program hopes to take its millionth child for a flight. Newspapers are used worldwide. No matter the country, they become part of the culture. Next, we'll meet a publicist from Botswana, Africa.
No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota. Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business with skills to enhance your workforce retention and productivity efforts. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in conducting employee satisfaction research, workforce needs assessments, and the development of customized training materials. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect you with important information you need. Use the internet to access government services such as employment opportunities, license renewals, applications for government benefits, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded with the support of the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. To learn how we are helping you get connected, Visit go.ndgrow.com.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
Since the emergence of the penny press, newspapers have been a popular way to stay informed. Not only are newspapers a part of our daily lives in the United States, but in Africa as well. Botswana newspaper editor and publisher Beatha Kasale is here to talk with us about African newspapers. Thanks for coming on the show.
Okay, thank you.
Can you give us a picture of Botswana, such as like the population and economy and that kind of thing, just to start off with?
Botswana is located in southern Africa. We are bordered by South Africa, Angola, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. We've got a population of 1.6 million, and our biggest export is diamonds. We are the third largest producers of diamonds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And what exactly are the differences between Botswanan newspapers and the United States newspapers?
Our newspapers are tabloid. That's tabloid size, and also tabloid, like top red. I think you know European newspapers, big headlines, big photos. So that's the difference. But in terms of news, I think news is universal. It's just the content which differs because of culture, of course.
And how do you feel Africa is viewed in the United States newspapers?
Oh God, it's terrible. American newspapers or international journalists portray Africa as this place where it's a jungle, where you get wild animals. The women are carrying pots of water and firewood. The children are running around butt naked. That's how the media portrays Africa. You don't get the success stories, which is very sad. I don't know if you want anything more than that.
And how do you feel Africa newspapers view the United States?
They view the United States is a superpower. That's how we view it. But mostly, we get interested in U.S. if there's conflict, like the Iraqi-U.S. war. That's when we watch the U.S. Apart from that, we are not really interested in American news. Our readers are more interested in local news than international.
And you work on The Voice. You're the publisher of The Voice.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about your paper?
The Voice is a tabloid with human interest. We sort of give the voice a voiceless, if I may steal that cliche. We report about the men on the street, the ordinary people. So instead of covering our president visiting the United States, for instance, we'd do a story based on maybe murder or rape or high crime, that sort of thing. We don't emphasize on politics because readers have gotten tired of that. They want to know what's going on around them, and we try to report positive aspects rather than negative. Although because of the high rise in crime, we are forced to report on murder and rape, unfortunately.
How many papers are there in Botswana, and are they all the same?
There are about 8 newspapers, and they're totally different. Some report politics, we report human interest, and some are general. We've got sports newspapers. So they're totally different, I'll say.
And what is the difference between your newspaper, The Voice, and government-run newspapers?
We are more independent. Government-run newspapers can report about a corrupt politician, for instance, and we can. But that's the only difference. I believe news is universal, as I've said. We report about HIV, AIDS, which is a huge problem in my country. Although the international media tends to overplay it a bit. So we give it a face. We talk to people affected, those taking antiretrovirals, and how this helps them in the view of helping others get to know how to use antiretrovirals. So that's how we're different from government papers.
Now in Botswana, you guys have 8 newspapers, both independent and government. Is the situation the same in different parts of Africa as well? I know that there's been trouble in Zimbabwe. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Zimbabwe has a huge problem with media. The Daily News is shut down now. A few months back, there was trouble between the Daily News and the government, where they went to court and the ruling was passed. The government lost, but they got too angry, sent the military to pounce on the Daily News's equipment, computers, printers. The Daily News operated from a house, and now I hear they're just on online. And other countries have experienced the problems with governments. We don't have that. We do have a problem though, which I found out that it happens in America. We get economic press freedom. That's what is violated. When advertisers stop advertising because you said something they didn't like, that can be fatal.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show and talking with us.
Okay, thank you.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be right back after this. Thank you so much.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business with skills to enhance your workforce retention and productivity efforts. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in conducting employee satisfaction research, workforce needs assessments, and the development of customized training materials. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
Students in this interactive class at the University of North Dakota are learning together with other students from across the state. UND is committed to helping students take courses and even earn degrees without leaving home. I'm Charles Capcella, President of the University of North Dakota. For information on how you can get a UND education wherever you live, check our website at www.und.edu.
The Graduate School at the University of North Dakota is the premier graduate school of the Northern Great Plains, offering advanced degrees in more than 50 fields of study. Our innovative and flexible programs give full-time students, as well as working professionals, the opportunity to study under the guidance of nationally and internationally recognized faculty. Advance your career with a master's or doctoral degree from the Graduate School at the University of North Dakota.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect you with important information you need. Use the internet to access government services such as employment opportunities, license renewals, applications for government benefits, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded with the support of the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. To learn how we are helping you get connected, visit go.ndgrow.com.
Tune in next week on Studio One. We'll see how some recent movies have made customizing cars more popular. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
We're going to leave you now with pictures of the scenic change of seasons, courtesy of photographer Adria Insrud. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.